Welcome back to Biomes. This time we are talking about Assateague Island. So Assateague Island is this very long and thin island that is located off the coast of Maryland and Virginia in the United States. It has quite a large proportion of beaches since it is very long and very thin. There is a lot of coastline on this island. A large proportion of the plant life is adapted to those more harsh coastal regions, such as multiple species of beach grass, as well as some flowering plants and shrubs, such as this one, the sea rocket. Now, the majority of the coastal beach plants are very well adapted to high salt concentrations and very high winds. And then as you move inland, they get a little bit less well adapted to those harsh conditions, but still pretty hardy, like this one, the seaside goldenrod, which has multiple medicinal uses, the sea beach amaranth, which is considered to be threatened, the eastern prickly pear cactus, one of the most northern adapted cacti. Most cactuses don't do very well in the colder northern regions, but the prickly pear does pretty okay. There's actually two different species of very rare orchids found on the island. This one is the crested fringed orchid. There's also like a whole lot of poison ivy, so that is something to look out for if you happen to be on the island, or also even just in other areas around it. Poison ivy. And as you move even farther inland, you get to the larger plants such as shrubs and small trees, such as this one, the wax myrtle, as well as wild blackberries. And there's even a few small forested areas with very hardy and salt-tolerant plants, mainly coniferous plants such as this one, the scrub pine. And getting into the animal life, what the island of Assateague is the very most famous for is its population of wild ponies. Now, they are not technically actual wild horses. They are feral domestic horses, meaning that they are domesticated breeds, but there's a population that has gotten back out into the wild and now are out living their best lives. Now, even though they are technically a domestic animal, they are not tamed. They are essentially wild horses, which is, yeah, what they are, so they don't behave the same as tame farm or pet horses and can be quite dangerous. As for other wildlife on the island, there are two deer species, this one the native white-tailed deer as well as the non-native sika deer. There aren't really any large predators on the island. There's no like wolves or bears or cougars or anything as far as I'm aware, but there are a couple smaller mammals such as this one, the American opossum, as well as raccoons and red foxes. And a few very rarely seen but still there river otters and muskrats. There's multiple species of rodents there found as well, including this one, the Delmarva fox squirrel, which up until recently was classified as endangered, but the population has recovered well enough that they have been taken off of the endangered species list. Good for them. And a couple different species of other rodents, such as this one, the meadow jumping mouse, which is just so cute. Now, like pretty much all shore and coastal islands, it's a very important spot for birds. It includes many shorebirds and wading birds and seabirds, including this one, the piping plover, as well as many species of gulls and terns and other plovers and all of those little guys, very important. There's a number of smaller birds as well, including this one, the tree swallow, as well as this guy, the little red-winged blackbird, which is very commonly found in the salt marshes, which also makes up a solid portion of the biome on Assateague Island. Also, larger wading birds, including herons like this one, the great blue heron, as well as snowy egrets, night herons, and also snow geese. There's a good amount of birds of prey as well, including this one, the northern harrier, a species of hawk, the osprey, a favorite of mine. I see these guys quite commonly where I live, so I've kind of got a soft spot for them. They're pretty neat. As well as the northern saw-whet owl, one of the smallest species of owls in North America, and the great horned owl, one of the largest species of owls in North America. There's also a solid number of reptiles and amphibians, including this guy, the box turtle, as well as multiple terrapin turtle species. A couple different snake species, including the eastern hog-nosed snake, well known for being kind of dramatic when playing dead as a defense mechanism. There's quite a few different frog and toad species, including this one, the Fowler's toad, but there can also be gray tree frogs, green tree frogs, bullfrogs, and leopard frogs found there. Lizards are pretty rare on the island, but this one, the northern fence lizard, has been sighted before, and I think these guys are just pretty cool. Around the shores of the island, there's quite a few different fish species, including this one, the flounder, and also a different species of a flatfish, the hog choker. Interesting one. This interesting one, the Atlantic menhaden, as well as like a ton of different more oceanic fish, including things like blue scale. Occasionally some cetaceans, such as bottlenose dolphins, and a couple different species of whale have been seen off the coast, which is also interesting. And there's a pretty solid variety of coastal invertebrate species, such as the horseshoe crab, other crabs such as this one, the fiddler crabs, and also ghost crabs and spider crabs occasionally, and also a number of different bivalve species, so clams and oysters, including this one, the quahog, I'm not entirely sure how to say it. So overall, for having not a very large space to work with, Assateague Island is very biodiverse and has a lot of super interesting wildlife and plant species on it.